meeting. Okay, so everyone has a itinerary in front of you, and I'm just going to go over some of the questions that I think you might have in trying to consider whether or not you should send your child on this mission trip, right? So a few things about me. I am in charge of the trip. I'm the mama bear on the trip. I am there for everyone, but I'm not the only chaperone. We'll have male chaperones, other female chaperones. And I have taken kids on mission trips to Costa Rica for 15 years with a 3-year gap for COVID. So this will be my 12th or 13th trip. And we've gotten to develop a really great relationship with the church there and the community of Pavas where we build the homes, and I absolutely love it. So I'm super excited to go back again this year, and I'm extra excited because we have the opportunity to go back to camp. Camp is the most fun, and we weren't able to do it last year because they weren't quite ready from coming back with COVID. Oh, it's you guys. So, do you guys want to pack it? And the Lululemon bag has your dinner. This is my daughter. She will be coming on the trip for the 2nd year in a row. My other daughter only got to come her 9th grade trip, her 9th grade year, because then COVID hit. So, I'm hoping to get her back again with us one year, but anyway, so I'm going to go through the itinerary, which is probably the least of what you want to know in choosing to send your kid on this trip. What we're doing is all great stuff. So I'll go through it kind of quickly with you and then get to all the questions that I know you have and the concerns as parents that you have about sending your kid on this trip. So the flight information obviously is unknown at this point, but in order to fly out of Jacksonville, we will have to connect probably in Miami or Fort Lauderdale. And the students always have a travel buddy. They don't go anywhere without their travel buddy. We pretty much are all together as a team. I always go through customs first. My other leaders bring up the rear. So I'm at not customs, well, customs too, but security and all that. Constantly with your children. When we arrive in Costa Rica, it's a tiny little airport, so we go through customs together, no problem. And then I collect everyone's passports. I lock them in a safe for the week, and I give them back when we get on our way to the airport on the way back. So I also carry copies of their passports on my person with me all the time. And then I leave one at home with my emergency contact person. So I've got all the bases covered. Like I said, I've done this a long time, so I know what works. So once we arrive on day 1, we will go straight to camp. If your students have ever been to a church camp or a retreat type environment, that's what this is, with teenagers from a very impoverished area of Costa Rica called La Carpio. And I've included some pictures here from camp. Just to give you an idea of kind of what it looks like, what we do. We put the students into teams, both Costa Rican and Americans integrated on a team. They get bandanas and wristbands and t-shirts and all the things for their teams. We play games in groups. You can see the second picture down there, they had accomplished some task in their amazing race type of scavenger hunt, whatever it was. And then we have devotions, bonfire at night, team competitions. It is such an incredible opportunity to see these students loving on each other, getting to know each other, worshiping the Lord in a neutral territory. They come from very different places, but they don't know that because they're at a camp. So it's really neat. I tell the students, my students are instructed, we wear like our grubbiest of clothes. We don't wear jewelry. We don't have cell phones for sure. And they will be wearing their best because this is like, for some of them, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to even get to go on a retreat like this. So they'll be wearing their best. We will be wearing our worst because we don't want them to see us as rich Americans. We want them to see us as Christians and people who are there to get to know them and be with them. So we will, once we have our team put together, we'll have a meeting before. And I also get with the students a few times just to talk about mission-minded type stuff. So anyway, the most incredible thing is day 3. If you turn the page, is Sunday. This is Sunday. We end camp and we go back to our hotel. We change into our camp t-shirts and we go back to church in their neighborhood. And it's just incredible to see the reaction of my students having no idea that they could have played soccer with them and had balloon toss fights with them and worshiped with them, and this is where they live. Like, our students can't understand how they even function. How can they go to camp and have so much fun and then come home to this? Like, it just is mind-boggling to them. So we spend an evening together in their neighborhood, at their church. We sign t-shirts. We have a pizza party, lots of tears, saying goodbye. I've had students in the past who are like, I'm not going to the house build. How dare you make me fall in love with another group of people, and then you're just going to tear me away from them again. I'm like, I'm sorry. That's kind of what's happening here. So camp ends with that special time on Sunday night. Day 4 is Monday, and this will be our adventure day. We're having one adventure day this year. Last year we went zip lining. This year we're going to go to the beach, and we'll take a catamaran trip out to an island, and we'll have a meal, and we'll kayak, and we'll swim, and we'll banana boat ride and do all the fun things and rest, because the next day is a lot of work. So day 5, day 6, and day 7 is our house build project. We will meet the family. We will meet the neighbors and the community who always pitches in. The students will get into teams. We'll have a painting team, a roof building team, a wall building team. We take turns kind of playing with the kids, resting, cleaning materials, painting. They do an awesome job of just kind of rotating the jobs. If we get enough students signed up, I'll build 2 houses. Last year we had 20 students on the trip, and there was actually some sitting around time, which was nice because the family had a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and we just loved all over those babies. Martine is like the cutest little boy you ever have seen. And so we thoroughly enjoyed just being with them and me being with the mom. I got to really just minister to the mom and be with her and pray with her and do for her and listen to her story and just love on her. And her mom too was there. And that was a really sweet time. So the kids are plenty busy. You can see those bottom 2 pictures. Some of my favorite moments is when those kids get those walls up. And there's one on the left there, putting up the first wall. The one on the right is just kind of an example of the area where we're working. Like, we just never know. Last year, these pictures are from 2019, but last year we built a house on top of another house. And we had to go down into this little valley almost, which they had just gotten stairs. Thank God. Oh, there's Martine. My daughter has a picture of Martine from last year with his ice cream cone. So we had to go like down these stairs and then up these stairs, and we were building a house on top of another house. A little dangerous, but we have a team of construction workers. There's like 4 or 5 men. How many guys were there, Miley? Maybe with Pedro and his crew, it was like, I don't know, plenty of help, plenty of like professionals around helping. So that is 3 days. Part of that, we take the family grocery shopping. We fill their home with food. We have a key ceremony, which is a really sweet time. We all stand around with the keys, and we have a Bible for the family, and every student says a little blessing, says a little something to the family, wishing them well and joy and provision in their new home. And there's not a dry eye in the circle, and it's a very, very sweet time. And then the family goes into their home for the first time. And invite us in, and we're their first guests to ever share time with them in their home, and it's a very sweet time. And again, I have to drag the students out of there. I'm sorry, we have to say goodbye. It's a horrible thing. And then we go back to the hotel. Every night we have devotions. Every night we really just kind of get in the Word and hash out what the Lord is doing and give the kids an opportunity to just process what they're seeing. If you turn the page, I've given you an example of just some of the things that they're going to be seeing. It reminds me of Matthew 25:40. Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. And these are the things we want to heighten the kids' awareness about while we're on this trip, that we're there to serve, that we're there to love on these people, that we're there for them to see Jesus, not to see us. And so we talk about that in the evenings. We pray for the family. We pray for each other. They bond as a team. We play all kinds of games. We go out for dinner every night, but then we have a little bit of time in the hotel, and it's in the bed and lights out by like 10 o'clock because I don't play and I'm tired. So you go to your room. You can sleep or not, but go to your room. So they room 3 to 4 kids in a room, depending. And the hotel is super safe. They walk in from the outside to a lobby area, and then they walk outside to a whole like campus. And each building, usually we always have the boys in a separate building, or boys and girls on separate floors, at least we try and do. And their rooms are in these buildings. So not only do their hotel room doors not go out to the street, they don't even go out to the building. They go inside the building. Does that make sense? Yeah. Is it the same hotel? Most likely, hopefully. Yes. It's not confirmed yet, but most likely, hopefully, it's the Country Inn and Suites is where we stay when we're not at camp. The camp situation is like cabin style. And our girls are with our girls. We don't room with the Costa Rican kids. They room with themselves. Our cabins lock. The American boys stay with the American boys, American girls with American girls, and likewise. And it's like a bunk bed situation. So they'll need to bring bedding for that. They'll need to bring like twin sheets and a blanket. Or there's no AC. The evenings are cool. So I usually bring like a king size sheet and I just wrap myself in it because you don't really need any more than that. That's usually all I bring. It's roughing it a little bit, but we're on a mission trip, so it's all right. It's all good. So that's the itinerary. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of the trip. The final page here, and then I have the last page for notes and questions if you think about them while I'm going over this. But these are some of the things I know that you probably want to know as far as accommodations. We talked about that. Really nice accommodations. Talked about transportation. We will have our own bus and a very nice bus in Costa Rica. Usually one chauffeur, we call him in Spanish, one driver the whole time. So if we leave stuff on the bus on accident, or when we're on our ministry days and we want to leave a backpack on the bus, we can, usually, unless it's a walk, because where we build the houses, sometimes a bus can't get back there. But for the most part, they're with us the whole time. There's no vaccinations or shots or anything required beyond the regular upkeep that Providence would require, but you do need a passport, of course. Food and water situations. So we usually have breakfast at the hotel. We usually either pack a lunch or get like, what did we get last year, Miley? Do you remember? It used to be Subway. What did we do for lunch at the house build? Oh, they made us lunch at the church. They cooked for us. Oh, yeah. Right? Which was fantastic. That was amazing. The ladies at the church cooked for us last year. So that just depends on what the plan is for that. And then we have dinners out. The only meals they're responsible for are travel days. So on the travel day, obviously at the airport, they want Starbucks, whatever, that's on them. When we arrive in Costa Rica, they'll have to buy their own lunch. So meals included starts dinner on day 1 and ends with breakfast on day 8 or 7 or whatever the last day is, day 8. Okay, so everything else is included. Communication. The students will have access to their cell phones when they are in their hotel rooms only. I do not want them to have their cell phones anywhere else besides in their hotel rooms, or at least, if they're standing on the stairs because service is better. Pretty much everyone gets service, which is a bummer. It used to be nobody got service, so they'd have to be in Wi-Fi and they weren't always on their phones. But if I let them bring them on the bus and everything, they have service all the time. And so we really want them to unplug. We really want them to not be so concerned with who's doing what on Instagram and just be where they are. So if it becomes a problem, I might take a phone if I have to. I really don't want them on their phones, except in their room to communicate with you. I take pictures and I let them take my phone and take pictures when we're out. But their phones will get lost. Their phones will get stolen. They do not need to have that stuff on them. So they are welcome to use mine. If you ever need to get a hold of me, you can. I always have my phone on me, and I do have service there through T-Mobile. It's pretty great. So that's the deal with communication. The cost of the trip. So what is all this going to cost? Obviously, it's a numbers game. As of now, I need a $200 deposit to secure your spot. I won't take more than 40 students. I don't know if 40 students would sign up. Eventually, I know we're building back up to that. We only had 20 last year. The year I had to cancel because of COVID, I had 42 students and we were building 2 houses and we couldn't go. So I know we'll get back to that point. Whether or not that happened this year or not, I don't know. But the initial deposit is through Providence. And that's the pay it link that I sent out last Monday. And it's also included here below. And if you email me tomorrow, I can send it to you again if you need me to. But that's a $200 deposit. And I'm collecting it through Providence with a deadline of November 17th. So that I can tell Joshua Expeditions exactly how many travelers we have. Because it's happened in the past where I didn't get as many as I thought, and then the cost of the trip ended up going up, and it was just a nightmare. I don't want to have to come back and ask for more money or anything like that. They tell me as long as we have between 20 and 30 students, it should be able to be in the ballpark of a total price of $2,000, give or take. So that, obviously, the $200 that you leave as a deposit counts toward that. So, and payments will be due in increments. Usually it's about four more payments due of $400 and something is how that will break down. And that way, they can buy the airline, they can reserve the things that they need to reserve and pay for the things they need to reserve. And then the balance is due. I think it's 45 days before we leave on the trip. Again, that cost includes everything except those meals on travel days, shopping, souvenir shopping, obviously. There's a little market by the hotel. So sometimes we walk to the hotel so they can buy snacks and what have you. And they all take like any kind of, debit card, Visa card, whatever. So they might want some snacks. You can also pack snacks though. We do make a trip to Walmart for the house build. I will need some help, some contribution with the house build because we furniture comes, but we will have to buy like bedding, curtains, things like that. Last year, we divided the items among the students, and each family sent their kid with an extra like $50 for buying these things. And it was my favorite part of last year. I've never done that before. I've always been the one to be in charge and tell them what to buy. I just sent them in teams and told them what to pick, and they took ownership of that home. They came back, put it all together. They decorated the home. I didn't even see it until the mom did. And it was so cool. It was one of my favorite things about last year, was just letting the kids do that. It was really neat. The cost of building the house is $5,000, and I am not putting that on you guys. We've been building houses for maybe 8 years now, I want to say. And the Lord has always provided. I always share at my meetings that paying for these things, first of all, the payment through Joshua Expeditions is super user-friendly. You will get an account with a username and a password, and you can go in anytime and pay $20 here, $20 there. I am paying for my daughter to come as well. So, if it's... if I have a $300 grocery budget and I only spent $250, I'm going to go home and put that $50 in her account. Like, that's how it works. You can just put money in there whenever you can, whenever you're able. So, and I know that some people are blessed more than others. Some people are able to help. And so any help, any contributions obviously are welcome. I do have $4,000 was given to the trip from the Stallion Annual Fund, and I am not using that toward the house build. I am using that to decrease the cost for the students. So that will come into play as well. Now, if 40 kids sign up, it'll only take $100 off of each trip, but hey, it's $100, right? So, anyway, that's the Lord is already going ahead of us. He is providing. I am not worried about it. I encourage you to not worry about it either. There are ways to send letters, ask family members, offer to wrap presents, mow lawns. Putting this on the students as well for them to take responsibility is that much more powerful of a mission. And I really encourage you in that. I do want to do some fundraisers. One of the things I want to do is gift wrapping. And I'm looking at December 18th because I know there's a lot of camps. Are you doing a camp for Christmas break? So there's a lot of camps going on. So there'll be a lot of parents dropping off kids over Christmas break. And so I need students and parents to help if people want to drop presents off, that we will wrap them. And I strangely came into a fortune of wrapping paper. I wish I could sell it and build houses in Costa Rica because I probably have $100,000 worth of wrapping paper. But I can't find anyone that wants it. But I did, here's an example of some, because the art teacher wants some. It's really nice paper. So I'm bringing this to the art teacher. This is 20 sheets because she's making ornaments, right? Yeah, so this is for the lower school art teacher. So I have all the wrapping paper we will ever need. So I'm going to supply the paper and offer to people, if they don't want us to wrap their presents, they could come take some paper and make a donation to Costa Rica Missions. So that will be available as well. I'm looking at December 18th for that. That'll be a situation where if you show up and you participate, you will get a portion of the proceeds. So that's for whoever participates, myself included, toward my daughter's trip. Other than that, I've done so many fundraisers where we have a spirit night at Chick-fil-A or something, but it's just not lucrative enough for our time, with everything we have going on. 10% of the sales, we might make $500 and everybody gets $10 off their trip. It's just not worth it. So the individual money raising efforts is really where it's at. It's really what it's all about. However, with that being said, if you know of any corporate sponsors, or you know of any interest, or you know of the end of the year people who have money that they need to give away so they don't get taxed on it, please send them our way. And that is honestly how I've managed to have a pretty good base of a missions account already. I probably have enough in there now to at least build one house and then some. So I'm just trusting as the years go by that the Lord will provide, and I'm just not worried about it. It'll be great. So there's how to register. The remaining balances, once I send all that in, you'll register on Joshua Expeditions. I'll tell you how to do that once that time comes. And then you'll get your payment information from there. Any questions for me? Yes.
The camp and the hotel, are they both located in the same area?
Pretty much. Yeah, we fly into San Jose, and right near the airport is an area called Alajuela, and that's pretty much where our hotel is. Everywhere we go is maybe, like when we go build the house, it's about a 20-30 minute bus ride. So it's kind of like Jacksonville. Everything is about 20 to 30 minutes away.
Can you humor me and spell the name of that town?
Sure. Alajuela. Alajuela.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably going to answer is no, but I'm going to ask. Apple Pay. So if they have their phone and they're going to get snacks and stuff, is it where you're going to be?
Miley,
like instead of sending a credit card?
Did Apple Pay work at the fresh market?
I'm just thinking one less thing to keep track of.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
The good thing though about Visa is that it's protected.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't lose it.
Protected, and Apple Pay is not good.
If they don't lose it. Yeah.
Sorry, I know my kid. It's like.
It's not good.
So.
Well, if you know your kid and you need some help on that, I'm happy to help.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had like medications that I have to carry with me. I've had.
Okay, so that's another one. Have you ever had, and this is just based on experience, you don't eat the vegetables, we don't eat stuff because you don't know what the water's been like.
No, we do. We eat all the things. We drink the water. We it's not a problem.
Stomach issues.
I mean, I'm not going to say we haven't had any stomach issues because we are in a foreign country, but it's a sprinkling. Like the group has never gone down.
Okay.
It's never been like that. I personally have never had an issue.
Okay.
And I have a very sensitive stomach.
Okay.
I've never had an issue. We buy bottled water for the students.
Okay.
Yeah, we do buy bottled water. We make sure that at the, and I don't work. I supervise. So I'm like, sunscreen, water, go work. Your break is over. Like that's kind of my job. So, and like medications, food allergies, all those things, I'm willing to take them on.
My son's a freshman, and I know that one of his concerns when he saw this at chapel was language barrier. Does he have to
No, it's not an issue, and I felt so bad that I didn't say that at chapel because kids were like, "Well, I'm in French. Does that matter?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've had French students that come and do better than my Spanish students because they are like, whatever, I don't care. I'm just gonna try, And no, it's not a problem at all. The language barrier is it's not a problem. There's translators everywhere. Part of what I do is I'm walking around putting sunscreen and making sure they're hydrated is I'm translating all day long.
There was like an expectation on the kids.
None. Zero expectation. Now, if they're my student, I'm going to be like, can you at least try? I'm not going to scold them for their bad Spanish. I'm just going to celebrate their efforts, because, and last year was the best. The kids tried so hard, and they have adorable 3-year-olds to practice with. Like that is not intimidating at all, The teenagers, yeah. There was one little girl who was like la jefa, like she was the boss. She was in charge at the at the work site, and she like created all those games and would tell you guys what to do, remember? And I had to translate. I thought it was a little girl. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but then the walls come down and everything's fine. By the end, you guys were best friends and you'd known each other. Since we couldn't do camp last year, we went to the park for an afternoon and we played huge games, like all in one big circle, as kind of icebreakers. Before we know it, they're off playing soccer. There's groups playing Uno. There's kids. I mean, they had a ball. They were in tears when we had to get back on the bus because the rain came. 3 hours later, we got Subway for lunch. We fed them. It was so, so neat. And at first, they were like, these kids are mean. I'm like, well, just keep loving them. Just keep loving them. And they did, and it was great. So, yeah, the language is not an issue.
What about security?
So the hotel is super safe. Everywhere we go is super safe. We travel with Joshua Expeditions, and I have known the woman who guides our trips. I've known her for 20 years. The first group that she ever led for Providence, I couldn't go on because I was pregnant with my first child, who's now 19. So she knows everybody in San Jose. Everybody knows who she is, what she's there for, who's with her, and they all look out for her. She's got particular restaurants that she goes to that she trusts. So none of that is an issue. Now, the house build, it depends on how far deep into the neighborhood we go, if the bus can come right up to where we are or not. And so the way that there is a potential for danger there. It's a very impoverished area. We're a group of Americans with tools and supplies and backpacks coming off a bus. But the way that they have structured things is that they have a team and they rotate because they pay these people. So there's a team that supervises and there's a team that builds. And those supervising teams, they walk with us everywhere and they live there. And so it's very safe with these people who live in the area. They know why we're there. There are so many homes in this area now that they're grateful for it. I mean, it's really turning the tides. Now, you might get a bad seed come through the tracks, but we tell the kids, like, we're always in groups. We're always right there. We're always right together. So I've never had an issue. Doesn't mean that we're ignorant to the fact that we have to be mindful and we have to be careful, but I've never had an issue. The community is very cognizant of looking out for us and being with us the entire time.
Do the students get to pick who they share rooms with?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then how involved are they in terms of like the actual building itself? Like how, obviously building a house or
They're building the house. The only thing that the builders are doing is telling them what to do. They are building that house. Now, they will not work with a saw. That part, the builders or my male chaperones will do. They will, it basically starts off with like hundreds of little pieces of wood that have to be painted, drywall that has to be painted, sheetrock that has to be painted. So we start with that, while another crew has 2x4s that don't have to be painted, and they're starting to hammer them together to create the wall. And the students do all of it. They carry all the supplies. If it's a threat of rain, oh my gosh, how many times, Smiley, did we move the wood last year? Oh my gosh. You've got wood drying out from the paint, but it might rain, so we got to move it under a trellis somewhere, and then it's not going to rain, so we're going to move it back so it can dry, and then for the night we have to store it so no one steals it, and usually it's neighbors who are helping us do that. So the kids do all of it, really. Sometimes, especially depending on the weather, the construction guys will finish the roof just so that when we come back the next day, like, that's done. They used to do like a trellised roof, and now they do a flat tin roof. So we don't do much of that part, but otherwise they do all of it. And then we come in all those.
Plumbing, it's just basically
There's no plumbing. There's no plumbing. I wish there was, but as of now, there's not.
Which is a good question. What about,
There's electricity, and we do buy them appliances, and it depends on what we want to afford to buy them appliances, whether it be no bathroom. Mm-mm. No. And I don't know if they'll evolve into that. Like the family we built this house for last year, she's been asking me, she's been WhatsApp texting me and like, I need a bathroom so badly because she has to go downstairs and into her mom's house, which is nearby, to her potty training babies. And I really wanted to do a bathroom for her. And she told me it would only be like $500 or $600 to make this happen. But I haven't pursued it yet. And I kind of know what Joshua Expeditions is going to say to me, that like, if I do this for her, then everyone's going to expect that they get that. And she's not going to stop asking for things. Yeah. So it's kind of it's a tough situation. As of now, it's kind of the protocol of like, this is what the house build includes, and that's what we give. And opportunity to do more gets a little messy.
where the kids go to the bathroom during the build?
Yeah, I'm trying to picture it. We have a home base in the neighborhood is the church.
Okay.
So we leave our bags and our everything at the church, and usually wherever we're building, because the bus parks at the church. So wherever we're building, if the bus can't get us right to the house, the bus will at least get us to the church and we walk to the house. And so there is a porta potty there, but as hard as we're working and as much as we're sweating, like we go back to the church at lunch and then everyone uses the bathroom. That's pretty much how it went last year, but there is a porta potty available. Or there's usually someone around with a bathroom if, for an emergency, but yeah.
Two more quick questions.
No problem.
How many chaperones do you typically have?
Usually it's about 1 per 8 to 10 students. So,
20 kids, like 3 chaperones?
So myself is chaperone number 1. Obviously, I'm the group leader. I'm hoping, he's praying about it and talking to his family about it. I'm hoping Coach Wright is my male chaperone, my first male chaperone. Angie Miller is my second female chaperone. She works at the school. And then if I need a 4th chaperone, will be another male chaperone. I don't know who that will be yet.
And then, have you ever had a kid that like got hurt on the trip?
Oh yeah, I've been to the emergency room. I've had the ambulance show up. Oh yeah, we've had all kinds of adventures. Yeah, because of the hotel and the insurance of the hotel, like they almost have to call an ambulance. It's just their weird protocol. It's not. And medicine is socialized. So like, I think it was $200 for x-rays and everything. And Joshua Expeditions, that one time, they just handled it. I had a girl who like broke her hand on the hammer.
Okay. That was kind of what I was worried about.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
You never know, are we getting them treatment since?
No problem.
We need to provide you with any type of medical documentation that gives you the authority to seek the treatment form or anything like that?
Nobody's arguing with me in Costa Rica about anything. No, I do travel with a what's called a travel minor release form, and it's a notarized form that gives me permission to travel with your child out of the country. In 15 years, no one has ever asked to see it. I still do. I still take them. I still have them, and I'll continue to have them. This is the first time when I went to Kentucky in October, I didn't bother with them, and I didn't need them. I mean, you just never know. The whole travel, it's so funny how. Yeah. Yeah. No, me too. I have what I've never needed for 15 years. I'll still have those notarized travel release forms. Yeah. And if that would probably suffice, they wouldn't even understand what it said. But again, this woman that we travel with, like everybody knows her. So it's pretty great. Yeah. But yeah, I've been to the hospital a few times in Costa Rica. Yeah. Yeah, it's totally okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
parents allowed to travel and?
Yeah.
What capacity would they?
I've had students, was that a, I have had parents travel, with us, and I welcome it. It's no problem. The cost could be a little extra because you would need your own hotel room. I certainly can't and won't put you in a room with students, and your child wants to be with his friends, not with you. So you would need your own hotel room. And I would just treat you like you'd be right there with us. Now, the devotional time, the group dynamic stuff, you participate in or don't. But as far as everything else the group does, you would just need to understand that you're part of the team. You do what the team does, But I have no problem with that. I welcome it.
And do students get, I guess there's like required volunteer hours?
Oh, they get lots of hours. Yeah. It's like 40 hours because you figure more than that. I think 40 might be the maximum they let me do, but we'll hit that between camp. If you consider like the ministry work at camp and being with these students, if you count that, it's 40 hours. The house build itself is a solid 3, 8 to 10 hour days. So yeah, 3 days to build a house from the ground up in 3 days. The only thing that's there for us already is the concrete foundation. But we got to hammer those walls into the concrete and everything. It's hard work. It is. It's awesome.
That's centrally located in the country. What beach are you going to?
We go to the Pacific coast. The country's pretty small, so we go to the what is it? The Cove of Nakoya maybe? If it's the same place. We used to go to a place called Tortuga Island. I think it might be the same place, but things are different after COVID. I don't remember what Beth had told me that's changed, if that's one of the changes or not. I don't recall. But we take a catamaran boat. It's big, a big catamaran boat. And it's about a 2.5-2 hour ride, maybe not even that long, to the coast. And then it's just beautiful. And it's just more of the country that the kids get to see. It's so beautiful. We arrive in an area called Punta Arenas, and we get on the boat, and it's about 1.5-hour boat ride to the island. And then we play and we have lunch. And then about 3:00, we head back. We usually have dinner at the hotel that night because it's just a really long day. And we got to get up and work. So, yeah, that's a fun day. Last time we went there, 19 students got baptized. It was very cool. That was our very last day. But I want to put the adventure day in the middle this time, I think. It's really cool to leave as that house build is the last thing, because it's so awesome. So, any other questions for me? Yeah.
Is there like a time difference?
Yeah, it's 2 hours behind.
Mountain time.
Right. 2 hours behind. And the sun rises, even in the summer, the sun rises in full glory at like 5 a.m. And at 6 a.m., 6 p.m., it's dark. It's very different. Yeah, it's very different. And it's cooler in the evenings. Like you need a sweatshirt at night, even though it's really hot and humid and rainy during the day, very similar to Florida. Not as hot as Florida, not nearly as hot as Florida. But it'll rain in the afternoon for 20 minutes or an hour like it does here. And it's very humid. But then once the sun goes down, it's like you need a sweatshirt. It's a little bit like California in that. It's really nice. Any other questions? All right. Okay.
I'm asking this, but laundry facilities,
Nope.
plan for no laundry for the entire week?
Nope, no laundry. Lots of t-shirts. You could probably double up on your shorts for the house build anyway. They'll get all full of paint. Just wear them again the next day. Go to Goodwill and buy some shoes because you'll probably throw them away or leave them there. They'll get full of paint and dirt and whatever else, Lots of t-shirts.
I'm assuming you'll set a packing list.
Yeah. We'll send a packing list. I'll meet with the students about all of it because it's really important too that we not wear super name brand things. This is like where they wear their ugliest clothes they would never be seen in. I almost wore my Costa Rica shorts to this meeting, but my daughter would be like, please no. Just, we dress like missionaries. You just cover up. No tank tops, all that. So, yep, good stuff. You go to the thrift store and shop for this trip because you won't want to keep a lot of it. Yeah. All right. Well, if you have any individual questions, I'll hang out. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Deadline was the 18th of November?
17th of November. That's just a Friday before Thanksgiving break. Yeah. And I'll probably send out like a last call email just because I want to make sure we get the ball rolling with the, payment plan through Joshua Expeditions and all that. So
So it's the first time off the staff.